next agenda for our discussion. Just so
Let's get started, everyone.
Okay, I'll read it to you later.
I don't see Allison or Tim.
I'm here.
Oh, Tim, hi.
Sorry,
Sorry, you just snuck in, I didn't see you.
He's hiding.
Thank you for being here. Okay, let's get started. I'm Sally Hart-Peterson. I'm Chair of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues. Welcome to everyone here today. We will start with a roll call of who is here, starting with Heather on my far left.
I'm Heather. I'm the HR liaison to the commission.
Tim?
I'm Tim Hall. I'm the commissioner.
My name is Kathleen Mozek-Botts. I'm a commissioner.
My name is Al Blixt, and I am a commissioner.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Zach Damon, and I'm the vice chairman.
Kirk?
Kirk Westfall, Commissioner and City Council Liaison.
Anarchy Schnitzer, Commissioner and Liaison to the University of Michigan Council for Disability Concerns, but I'm rolling off this committee unfortunately because I picked up 2 more committees, you know.
Oh.
There's only so many committees I
Wait,
can
which committee are you rolling
commit
off?
to. This one.
Oh.
So,
Heavy sigh, okay.
Yeah, well, you know.
Is
as
this
I
your
said-
last meeting?
It is.
Oh.
You can't do that.
No, okay.
That's against the
I didn't
bylaws.
realize I was so valuable, but I'm very flattered.
you
and I
are.
Thank you.
Larry?
Larry Keeler, Commissioner.
Bless you.
Bless you, Al.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for being here. May we have a motion to approve the agenda? Kirk moves to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Larry seconds. Discussion. I have a piece to say. Carolyn Growie was on the original agenda, but I don't think the change to reflect the fact that Alex Gossage is here. He's the Associate Director of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, and he will be here in place of Carolyn for today, so I'd like an updated agenda to reflect that Alex Gossage is here. Any other questions or edits or concerns about the agenda? All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're all set. Next is approval of the April 19th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the April 19th meeting minutes?
I'll move to approve.
Larry moves to approve, Kirk seconds. Any discussion, questions, additions? I wasn't here, and I thank Zach for
Yeah.
chairing the meeting for me, so I trust the minutes are what the minutes are.
Yeah, excuse me if I may, just one comment on the minutes. We actually did go over, the year in review draft.
Okay,
And there were a few comments and minor edits, but of course, we will be revisiting that today.
okay,
So,
so you can update me, okay.
yes.
That would be great.
Sure.
So can we reflect in the minutes that under the chair report, is that when you
yes, it
did
was,
that?
yep.
That there was a discussion of the year in review and that edits will be presented to the chair. You got that?
Yeah, there was one thing about the annual report on there.
Oh,
Oh, there was?
But I didn't, yeah.
Oh, Anna
It's
should
like
like-
not complete.
oh, it just says
What's
Anna Schnitzer would like the last sentence of the annual report section regarding the
Oh.
Michigan flyer to be taken out.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that was the edits.
Oh, that was
Never.
the
That
was
edit.
it.
Okay, sorry,
much.
I missed that. Okay, so does it need to be changed?
So, no.
No? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted originally? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, they're approved. Moving on, presentations. First, we have Ira Lax from the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. Hello, Ira.
Hello, hello, good to be here. Beautiful spring day, feels like summer. Just wanted to mention, did I bring it? Yes. The library is very proud to be hosting, just like we are a library for the blind for this part of Michigan. There are groups like us all over the Midwest, all over the country, but 2 regions that cover the Midwest and also the Northeast of the United States are converging here early in June we are hosting a conference of all these people that provide the same service we do in their regions for like a 3-day conference, June 6th, 7th, and 8th, I believe it is. So and we are getting very, very generous support from the Ann Arbor Host Lions Club. And so we want to thank them and just make sure you're aware of this is going on. And we're happy to have the folks into town, and it will be at the downtown library. I brought 3 new titles I found on the shelves that I wanted to mention. One is Out of the Wreck I Rise, a literary companion to recovery by Neil Steinberg and Sarah Bader. And it looks like just a wonderful companion if you or someone you know is going through recovery. It's got some fantastic, they've done so much work in finding great quotes, and more than just small quotes, sometimes substantial quotes of people going through recovery, and looking at it from various angles. So it's a wonderful book, Out of the Wreck I Rise, Neil Steinberg and Sarah Bader. And then Teenage Suicide Notes, an ethnography of self-harm by Terry Williams. He is a sociologist at New School for Social Research in New York. It looks like he is really someone who has experience working with young people, and he uses their voices in an amazing way in this book. So there's a rich field here for those of you who want to learn more about this problem that we've heard is bad all over the country, including our county here. So that's Terry Williams. And then Dealing with Doctors' Denial and Death. I guess I got some tough subjects today, but there's a lot of denial in dealing with this subject. And this doctor, Arup Mangalik, who is a medical doctor, and he's been involved in trying to improve the conversation. If you have a, if you have a really, a tough diagnosis, and so many times we just pour money into what's going to happen to the person, and instead of dealing with it in a much more realistic way. And so this helps with that conversation, Dealing with Doctors' Denial and Death by Arup Mangalik. And just this year, the library is just so rich in, if you want to get out in your garden, we have a ton of gardening books. And then we have a ton of cookbooks, what to do with all those wonderful things. Of course, that'll come later in the summer. But, if you want to hear an opera while you're gardening, we've got those too. I mean, it's really amazing wandering around the library, all the things that can enrich your life. So please come in and browse. I think I did want to mention a couple programs that coming up this week. Friday night, there's a new Actors Equity company in town called Kickshaw, and at the Westgate Shopping Center, if you want to hear a reading by a professional company, they are doing a play called Lungs by Duncan McMillan at 7 to 9 o'clock at the Westgate Library. So that should be very exciting to hear a professional company do a reading. And then we also have tonight mystery writer Steve Hamilton, who writes a lot of his mysteries take place in the Upper Peninsula. I think now he's moved to New York City, so they're happening there, but he's a U of M grad. And so Steve Hamilton is at the downtown library this evening at 7 o'clock. And then if you're into into ornithology, Richard Prum from the Yale University Museum will be here to talk about his new book, The Evolution of Beauty, How Darwin's Forgotten Theory of Mate Choice Shapes the Animal World and Us. So I'm going to try to be at that one.
When's that
I'm really
one?
interested in that. Yeah,
When's that one?
tomorrow night. Tonight is Steve Hamilton, tomorrow night is the ornithologist.
Oh, you would. That's not a good
Not-
night. I'd
not
love to
good
see
for
that
ya.
one.
Well, anyway, hope you can make it, Larry. And then, of course, if you would like to sign up for Washington Library for the Blind, you can give us a call at 734-327-4224, and we'd be happy to set you up with all the reading material you could use. All right, any questions? All right, thank you very
Thanks, Sarah.
much. And Anna, I'll be sad to see you go, but thanks for what you've done.
Thank you.
Next, we have Alex Gossage, who is the Associate Director of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here today.
Hi.
For those of you who don't know me, again, my name is Alex Gossage. I'm with the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. We're a community organization that works with and on behalf of people with disabilities. And I am here to tell you about some of the activities that we have going on this spring as well as in the early summer. So to begin with, I wanted to mention we have a couple of ongoing activities that are more recreation-based. So each Wednesday from 5 to 7 o'clock, you can hang out with Zach over there at Diversibility Theater, have an opportunity to participate in some acting exercises, participate in other pieces of that as well. And then following that, they always do a group dinner. So it's a fun time for all. In addition to that, each Monday, Thursday, and Friday, we have art classes in the afternoon. So from on Monday and Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m., you can come and do various kinds of art, including pottery, and also on Thursdays from 12:30 to 2:30, which is new for us. In addition to that, and I want to make sure I don't get any of the times wrong on some of these other things, we have a lot of career services activities and workshops going on this summer. So just this Friday at 11:30 to 1 o'clock, we have Preparing for Your Job Search at the Arbor CIL. In June, we will be focusing on job applications and resumes. That's June 22nd from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And then in July 13th, from 3 to 4:30, we'll be doing effective interviewing. In addition to that, related to career services, we are part of a coalition of entities in Washtenaw County called the Job Developers Alliance, and they are going to be holding a job fair on Tuesday, June 27th from 10 to 1 p.m. This is a job fair where you do need to register prior to attending, and people can do that by contacting career services at aacil.org. It is free. It's just that they need to register with folks ahead of time, make sure they have all of the materials and everything that they'll need prior to attending. In addition to that, one activity that we are hosting that I think is really interesting and a great opportunity for folks with disabilities to come together and create a common disability agenda is the Michigan SILC, the Statewide Independent Living Council, will be coming to the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living on June 14th from 2 to 5 p.m. for a public forum. This is something that you can register for by going to their website, misilk.org. I think, again, this is going to be a great opportunity for people with disabilities from across our community and across the state to come together and talk about the various issues that we are facing, as well as the ones that we feel are the most important to work on. These are going to be happening in other parts of the state as well. But we are very happy that we are hosting one here in Ann Arbor. In addition to that activity, on Tuesday, June 20th from 1 to 2 o'clock, we will be hosting a workshop on special needs trust and financial planning. This will be in conjunction with Elizabeth Warren, family law, mediation, and disability attorney in the area. So she'll be working with us to present that workshop. And just a couple more, I promise. On Wednesday, July 26th from 4 to 7 p.m., we will be celebrating the 27th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act with our annual picnic. So we will have music, food, games, opportunities to socialize. At the event, we will also be having a ceremony to honor the winners of our John Weir Scholarship, which is the annual scholarship that we provide to outgoing seniors from high school who have disabilities and live in Washtenaw, Livingston, or Monroe counties. And then finally, I just want to mention one activity that we just got set is for young women with disabilities between the ages of 14 and 26, called Girl Talk. And it'll be an opportunity for young women to come together, learn some various skills, have opportunities for things like socializing, cooking, baking, but also doing things like personal visioning. And these will be held on Wednesdays throughout the summer from 6 to 7:30. The dates right now are set for June 21st and 28th, July 12th and 19th, and August 2nd and 9th. All of these activities can be found on the calendar of our website, which is www.annarborcil.org, and I'll leave a packet of materials for you all as well. So, thank you.
Allison?
Yes.
I have a question. Could you repeat the dates that Michigan Silk is coming to Ann Arbor? Because I think I may have missed that one. Sign committee for communication.
They are coming on June 14th
Okay,
from 2 to 5 p.m.
okay, and you said that you need to register online, or?
You can register online through their website, or you can email them at cda@mysilk.org.
Okay,
That would be my suggestion. When I was on their website earlier today, it was hard to find a link that went directly
Right.
to online RSVP.
okay,
So I would
thank you.
email.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Zach?
Alex, first of all, thank you again for everything that you and the CIL are doing. I just had a quick question about the job fair going on the 27th. I believe you said that's from 10 to 1. Should the participants and those that register, should they bring a resume if they haven't?
I believe they'll tell you when you email us, they'll let
Okay.
you know what you should bring. I'm assuming they will want you to bring at least a resume with you, if not some other information as well. But that's the purpose of registering with folks ahead of time.
Okay, thank you.
Allison?
Also about that job fair, will the information about the companies or organizations that are participating in that job fair, will that be available online in advance?
That I do not know for sure.
Okay.
As it's a coalition group, so I don't know if they have all of the employers set at this point. And there isn't a website per se for the group itself.
Okay,
That is something I can look into, and I'm happy to email Sally or whomever is the main contact to get that to you guys.
okay,
Yeah,
that would
I'd
be
be happy
great,
to.
thank you.
And I can also, after this, email everything to you that I talked about today.
Great. We should actually put it on the disability resources page as well. We can do that.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Great, moving on. Public comments. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to address the commission? Seeing none, we'll move on to the city personnel report. Heather Cook?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay, thank you. Next is chair report. I have a couple of things to mention. First of all, we do have Doug Coombs here with us today, the friendly man with the camera over there. Wanted to let you know I was contacted by Patty Smith, a former commissioner, and I think we'll be hearing more about her later on today. She is writing an article on the Disability Commission for Concentrate. And so I was interviewed, I think Kirk was interviewed, and Doug is here to take some pictures that will accompany the article, which I believe will be published online next week. A week from today. Perfect. Thank you. So I just want to let you know who is here and why he's taking pictures. Next, the year in review, and I apologize, I missed it in the minutes, but now I understand what that sentence refers to. My understanding is that you discussed this last month, and the only edit is to remove the word subsequently changes to the air ride were made, and I'm going to eliminate that line.
Thank
Is that correct? Correct?
I think that's
Okay.
correct, because I don't want to take credit where
Okay,
it's not due, 'cause I
okay.
didn't make any changes.
Okay. And that was the only edit. So if it's okay with everybody else, I will submit it as edited based on your recommendations from last month to city council for their files. Sound good? Okay. Next, at the March meeting, we talked about the grand opening of the Universal Access Centennial Playground, which is on Sunday, September 17th. And we talked about how that was a challenge for a lot of people who have disabilities, who are reliant on public transportation, who wanted to attend. AAATA doesn't operate on Sundays. And so I have raised this with one of the committee members from Rotary. Remember that this Universal Access Centennial Playground is a gift from Rotary in collaboration with the city of Ann Arbor in honor of their 100th anniversary. And I've also spoken with our city administrator, Howard Lazarus. And what I've heard from Rotary, first of all, is that they can't change the date because they have secured the schedule of some dignitaries who have committed to that date, and they don't want to change the date for that reason. That said, they're willing to collaborate, and I know they've talked about maybe talking to CIL about having some sort of rideshare program for that day. And what I have asked our city administrator to consider, and tell me if you think this is moving along the right path, is that perhaps there'll be a shuttle service provided by Ann Arbor Rotary between someplace such as like Holidays Restaurant, that parking lot. I know from previous experience that Holidays seems to be particularly accommodating to the disability community. Perhaps we could have shuttles run between Holidays and Gallup Park for that day. Would that work for people?
That'll work for me.
Well, I had you in mind, Larry, but I had other people in mind as well. Does that sound like a suggestion that would work for people on this commission? So I will pursue that, and assuming I can make that happen, we will post that on the disability resource pages as well. Okay?
I do have a question
Yes.
about the suggestion. In the meantime, from now until September, when
Yes.
the grant for inclusivity is happening, are we able to provide any other suggestions for alternative transportation if we decide that there are other ideas as well, or is that final?
That's not final.
Okay.
That's why I was asking for people's feedback. So if you have alternatives, please email me, or if you want to think about it first, but let me know. But
Okay.
I guess I'm sort of taking the lead and trying to resolve this. So if you have other ideas and want to think about it first, or just let me know or raise it here, that's fine. It's
Okay.
not final.
Right, I just want to make sure that
Okay.
we have time now. to
You
think
do
about
have
it.
time. You have plenty of time. So
Not really.
you don't.
Yeah.
We have time to come up with a solution. We just need to give Rotary and the city of Ann Arbor some direction.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm kind of wondering why that particular location was selected, because I'm just thinking, I mean, it's kind of out of the way, like if you're coming to Gallup Park from like the east side of town or something, and it just seems like a little odd.
Yeah, I think it was probably a place where there was a need for an upgrade. It actually is on the eastern, it's sort of central eastern part of the city. It's very close to the B2B trail, and it's close.
No, you're talking
No,
about
you're
something
talking
different, I
about
think,
the-
Sally.
I'm talking about the Holidays
Holidays.
restaurant.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I thought,
Too late on the playground.
I'm sorry, yeah, it's too late on the playground anyway, but yes, it is far from people coming from the east side of town. So yes,
I'm just wondering why they didn't just like run it from the Blake Transit Center or
Well,
somewhere
they-
that people can all get to easily on transit.
well, as I
Yeah,
was
that's a thought.
explaining it, it hasn't been set in stone. That was just a suggestion that I made. So, Blake Transit is another idea. Tim, but
Cool.
also, if you can let me know what will work with you, for you, if you wanna just send me an email, I
Yeah,
can
I
try to.
mean, well, I can work out alternatives if there
Okay.
was nothing, but I'm not necessarily saying for me, but just for transit riders in general.
Okay, we are open to any and all ideas to resolve the transportation issue. So, yeah, and I apologize for misunderstanding your question. But yes, so again, I encourage anyone here to send me an email, and I will do my best to find a solution that fits everybody's needs. Finally, I just wanted to update a situation I think we talked about again in March, Commissioner Keeler had an incident on a low wall, and we have brought this to the attention of the Director of Public Services for the City of Ann Arbor. He now has the pictures, and Larry, we're just gonna ask you to help explain what actually happened, and hopefully we'll get this resolved.
I'll do that.
Okay, but I just wanted to give you an update that the resolution is a work in process, and that's all I have as chair. Next, we have Al Blixt, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, I lost my agenda, it was right
Okay,
in front of
well,
me, and then
You're absolutely right, though. Your memory serves you
my
well.
memory serves me well.
The Community Engagement Committee held its April meeting on the 27th of April, and Kathleen was the other commissioner besides myself who appeared, but we were also fortunate to have in attendance 5 government students from, I believe, Huron High School. We end up with quite a few folks, and so much of the meeting time was spent familiarizing these students with the concept of disability issues and the function of citizen commissions in the scheme of state government. And so I take it that that meeting served its useful educational function because those kids were clueless before we started, and they knew something when we got done. Our next meeting was originally scheduled for next week. However, I will be traveling, and so I would like to invite anyone who is interested to join me for the next community engagement meeting, which will be held on Wednesday, May 31st, in the council workroom, as usual, at 5:30. So anybody who can make it, I would love to see you there. And if you have issues that you think the Community Engagement Committee should be looking at, we certainly welcome those. And I think our connection with the Center for Independent Living is certainly an important part of community engagement, so I should talk to Carolyn about that. That's it for me.
Great. Do you want to talk about Ann Arbor Inclusive? real
Sure.
quickly?
Yeah, just an update on Ann Arbor Inclusive. Again, a lot of positive feedback with the project. And again, thank you to the commission for allowing me to be involved with this. We're going to be going on season 3 pretty soon. So this will be amazing. Almost 3 years doing this now. We did back-to-back episodes this past couple weeks. So we interviewed Alex Teska from Eversight, the Michigan Eye Bank. Wonderful interview. And then Jim Baird came on the show as well later that same day, and we taped an episode with the Ann Arbor Chief of Police, who did a wonderful job, spoke very, very highly of Sally and the commission and all the work that we're doing. So I was very grateful for that. So Chief Baird's interview will be the episode that will be airing shortly, hopefully within this week. And then Alex Teska's episode will air after that.
Okay.
So, yep,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Allison, Partners and Access Committee.
We did not have our meeting, the regular meeting last Wednesday, because I was out of town for work, and another commissioner who regularly attends these meetings was also not available. So it made more sense for us to postpone this meeting, and we will now have the Partners and Access meeting this evening, right after the commission meeting in the council workroom. So it may be at 5:15, or it may be happening right after we finish our meeting, depending on what time we will finish it. And the last thing that we talked about at the meeting back in April. I don't remember what time we had that, what day we had that meeting. We talked about the handicapped parking in Ann Arbor and the accessibility for the kiosk for people to pay for their parking, and the issues that surround these kiosks in terms of weather and inclement weather, or just bad weather in general, where people are not having great access to the kiosk to pay for their parking on time. So that's one of the topics that we will talk about this evening. And that's all I have for now. And I promise I will have a full report at the next commission meeting, after we have a meeting. So, thank you.
Thanks, Allison. Recruiting, Larry Keeler.
Oh, yeah, hi. Does this thing work? Yeah. Well, we will apparently have another empty spot soon. Thanks, Anna. But we have one application in. We have another applicant who's very interested, but her application hasn't gotten here yet. So that's what we have going on, and we still will have an open slot. So you can contact the mayor's office at 794-6161, or you can also look at 82disabilityissues@gmail.com, and you can find applications there, and you can have, if you need to, the mayor's office is glad to help you fill out those applications if you ask upon request, and hope to see a few more.
Thanks. Yes.
And Larry, on that, I will be sending you an email because there's been a gentleman that approached me that is interested in finding out more about the commission as well as possibly joining. So look for that from me.
Oh, please do. And I guess we can say the one person's name, since her application is in and up for review, will be Patty Smith. And she,
Yeah.
if it's the Patty Smith, I think it is, she's been on the commission once before. And I talked to Christine about that.
Yeah.
So that should be going through pretty soon.
So we'll have just about a full commission again, which is great.
But Anna can't leave, so we gotta have a full commission. Not until we have a full one in.
Announcements?
Yes.
Anyone? Larry?
One of us commissioners has been fairly busy this weekend with the Lions Club. And Linda Evans, who has been sort of a bit of a bridge between that Lions Club and the Ann Arbor Host Lions Club and the Commission on Disability Issues with the Sensory Garden. And we've put in, we cleaned the thing out last Saturday, took all the weeds and dead leaves and everything out, and then we planted some things yesterday, and I don't think we're gonna have enough people for Bloomsday, but I guess we have somebody putting down mulch, and maybe Sunday afternoon I'll be back down there putting in a few more plants with a couple other people from Lions Club. So that's looking really well, and I think we've finally got the water turned on. There was an issue about getting the water turned on, and I think that's happening this week. So that thing's up again and looking pretty for another year.
Thanks, Larry, for continuing your leadership and representing our commission with the Sensory Garden. It'd be great to have more people do it too, but I'm grateful that you continue to be engaged. Anna, you had an announcement.
Yeah, I have a couple of little things. One of them is that I don't believe I've ever announced this at this meeting, but I collect hearing aids, recycled hearing aids, recycled eyeglasses, and recycled sunglasses. And a week ago, I collected 88 sunglasses and eyeglasses and gave those to the Ann Arbor Lions Club. And what they do is distribute them to people in need in other countries. They're not allowed to distribute them here for some reason, the U.S. But, the Lions Club does great work with vision and so forth. So I just thought I would announce that. But it's really very easy for me to do that because I have a friend who puts a note in the hospital news, and the glasses just come flooding, so it's,
Where do people drop off glasses?
Well, with me at the library,
Okay.
or that, if they could send it to me, or come in person, or, just let me know where the glasses are, because it's actually a project by one of the physicians. It's called Amazon Promise. Right now, they're doing it along the Amazon basin in Peru, and the people sorely need glasses. And as many as it seems like, 88, that seems like a lot of glasses, they go, and people are very happy to get them. And sunglasses, because it could be very sunny, too. Hurts your eyes.
Now you tell me, I have a couple pair.
Well, I'll get them from you. Okay, and then my second little announcement is that I had been invited to be a panelist in San Antonio on a panel for disability, and I happened to be sitting next to a woman whose name was Ava M. Smith, and she is the division director of the Talking Book Program for the state of Texas. She was excellent. she gave me a flyer, and I was just discussing this with Larry, because it's got hints about how to interact with persons who are blind or have visual disabilities. And of course, I was going to run that past Larry first thing. And what it is, you know, some really useful hints. There are 5 of them. And people might be interested if we want to put this, providing Larry agrees, of course, on our resource page.
The first one is be afraid, be very, very afraid.
No, it's speak in a normal tone of voice is the first one. Eyes may be affected, that doesn't mean that hearing is necessarily too. In fact, many blind people have acute hearing, so talking to them in a loud voice is both insulting and painful. What do you think about that?
That's exactly correct.
Okay, so that's what I mean.
Yeah.
This woman knew whereof she spoke. And then the other kind of interesting little anecdote was that I always use the word differences because I work with you know, diversity, and I just think that disability just spans the whole spectrum of diversity, and so I always say differences. And she said, no, I say disability. And that led to a little discussion in our last council meeting at the university about whether or not you should use the word disability, because, you know, to me it strikes me as a little bit negative, but on the other hand, if you don't use the word disability, nobody knows what you're talking about. So you're kind of caught in the middle. So we were thinking maybe we should change the council, the University of Michigan Council name, so we wouldn't have disability, and that was voted down. Just keep it as it is. The group decided. There were about 25 people there, and they decided. So those are my reports.
Thank you, Anna. Larry?
You know, the answer to that, Anna, is always personal, because, I mean, some people, you know, don't like the word blind to talk about us, but some of us don't mind at all because it's very descriptive and very straightforward. So how I always do that is I usually listen to people talk and then find out what they would prefer, but obviously on a council or something, you can't do that when you name it.
Well, good, yeah. Differences of opinion, personal preference.
Exactly.
Allison?
I think that conversations that you guys have sounds really interesting. I was wondering, have you guys talked a little bit about changing the culture surrounding the word disability and making it more that it's just positive and it's just part of what the reality is, as opposed to people see it as something that's not so great or making them feel like a whole person themselves. So I think the main thing is really thinking about how to change the evolve that culture
Right,
to make it part of a positive environment.
definitely, which is what we always try to do, right?
Right.
And it just reminds me, and I quote Lloyd all the time, but if we can marry the concept of disabilities or having a disability with part of the human experience, because it is something that we all will experience in one way or another. And so, again, disabilities aren't about other people, it's about where we are in our lives, or when it's part of the human experience. So whether you're a caregiver or whether you're getting older and less mobile, losing your sight, losing your hearing, people are going to experience a disability at some point in their life. And it's not something other people have, it's part of the human experience. So I would vote for keeping the term
Me too.
and
That's what we
changing
did.
and broadening the connotation.
Well, yeah, it wasn't actually my idea. Someone had
Yeah.
passed it along.
Yeah.
I was just being conscientious by bringing it
Yeah.
out to see what people thought.
Yeah.
And they did not think we should change or tweak or leave it alone and
Yeah.
face reality.
Yeah. Anybody else want to comment? That was helpful. I just want to say thank you, Anna, for your time on this commission. I've always been grateful for you because back in 2012, you welcomed me warmly on the University of Michigan Council for Disability Concerns, and I was the liaison between them and this group, and it's been wonderful.
I remember.
Working with you, and I hope our paths will cross often as we
Likewise.
move forward. So,
Thank you,
thank
likewise.
you.
I've learned a lot here, and in fact, at the last meeting at the university, I read out the accomplishments of the commission.
Oh,
I
you
was proud to
did?
do that,
Oh.
yeah.
Well, and that's a good segue unless other people have announcements. Do you want to talk about
Well,
other new business?
in addition
What
to.
was reviewed?
In addition to what I said, the other thing we're doing, of course, which we do every year, is we have our Investing in Ability events. And this year, because it's the bicentennial of the University of Michigan, calendars are just chock-a-block full of other events, so we are calling it Investing in Ability Light. You know, so we are doing things, we are going to have a panel, we are talking about the future of disability and so forth with an architect and someone from technology, because technology is so important. I'm also trying to get the Active Minds, who are the student organization interested in mental health. They're always, you know, very committed and engaged. And also, we have, every year, we have the dogs, the service dogs and the therapy dogs, all dogs invited.
Don't listen, Ollie.
As long as they're, you know, trained, well-behaved and so forth. We don't take any old dog. We take dogs that have a function here in life, helping people. And we're going to have those in at least 3 places, if not 4, because people get jealous. They say, well, the dogs are in the diag, I can't get to the diag. So we say, okay, some of the dogs will come to you, you know, up at Plymouth Road, at the medical campus, and at KMS, which is the billing arm of the university on South State Street. And then we're also going to try to put dogs at North Campus, but we have to be very careful because they don't want too many dogs there. And so we have to just pick your dogs, you know, maybe 5 or 6. That's just the way, you know, rules are rules, so we try to abide by those.
Wonderful, thank you.
We've had 40 guide dogs in the same room.
Any other new business or announcements?
Yeah, I was at the Transportation Commission last month, and they were really just getting started, but got like an overview of the project, kept like the CIP and project processes like for the city, and really just working out our priorities for the next several months and getting bylaws set and things like that. But also mentioned, yeah, this week they're talking a little more about just the various agencies that are involved in planning, and it's like the transportation plan and the non-motorized plan and things like that. I mean, and I think next month they're going to talk a little about transit and transit agencies, AAATA, the RTA, and things like that. And just, yeah, I brought up some of the issues, like I brought up this issue with AAATA and the
September
Sunday, yeah, that briefly. I actually brought that up at the AAATA board. I mean, they didn't say much, but just, I brought up like the fact that we need more, just in a general case, that there needs to be better off-peak access to certain areas, and overall, it seems like the transit system is often crafted more to fit the needs of commuters than any other use case.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I understand that that's the biggest use case, but it's not the only use case.
So Tim, what I would like to do is put an update from the Transportation Commission by you on our monthly agenda. Is
Oh,
that
you
okay
were-
with you?
So,
Because,
so do you want me to write this, or?
nope, I just
No.
want you to announce, like you just did. You just updated us on what happened at the last meeting.
Yeah.
And can you do that on a monthly basis, and we'll have a standing point on our
Yeah,
agenda?
And their
for you?
meeting is usually on it's actually the same day as our meeting, except it's at night. So I've got,
Oh.
the second meeting is going to be tonight.
Okay, so
Oh,
you
they've
can
moved to
update us
Wednesdays.
next month on that, so.
I was gonna move that exactly, that we put him on the
Yeah.
agenda as an activity or I don't know if you'd call it an activity, but
Well,
standing
just put it on a
report.
standing agenda item.
Yes.
Kathleen?
May I ask what time the meetings are?
Right now, it's like 7 PM on Wednesday. I
On the
forget.
third Wednesday?
Yeah, it's the same day as us right now, but I
Okay.
guess one or the other could move in a single month
Yeah.
or in general, but that's the way it is now.
And where?
Where's-
Here?
Here?
Oh, in this room?
Yeah, right
Oh,
here.
Beautiful, okay, thank you.
Allison?
I also would go to short there. You provide update of the daily agenda item as well. I wanted, you mentioned that you talked about priority at the last meeting. I know it's probably early, a little bit too early to really satisfy. Do you have any information about what these priorities may be at this time?
They sent us a lot of materials. I could actually, most of them are on the website for the Transportation Commission. It's just, they have like a lot of like short range and long range plans, and they had some stuff for just this year as far as like just particular intersections. And
Okay.
I know I heard city council pass something actually, because I know the Research Park Drive intersection has come up with Ellsworth, like that's come up a number of times. I know they're like working on a crosswalk, and that's come up in this year's budget, I know for a fact, but
That's good. Anything
I
else?
guess it still wouldn't, I don't know that they're necessarily gonna have a light there. It would just be a, you know, a mid-block crossing. I haven't seen the details on that. I might wanna ask, because it would be better if they had a light, but I know that there's other things.
Do you think it's an appropriate place for a rectangular rapid flashing beacon?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty
If it's
busy
mid-block,
area,
yeah.
just knowing, like, I'd wanna ask more details. I just saw it in the city council, actually, that was on their,
Yeah, on the
Jen.
budget talks, yeah.
What are those things up by me called? The ones that you tap and they cross they beep, and then you tap them, and
I
they
think
stop
those
traffic
are
while you cross.
rectangular rapid flashing
Yeah,
beacons.
that would be, if that's what those are really useful. I like those a
Right.
lot.
Yeah, they
When
have
they
them-
turn red, they're known as hawk, but,
Hawk.
yeah.
I know they have stuff like that on Plymouth Road, too.
Yes, they have a lot of Plymouth Road.
They put 3 of them on Stadium, which I thank the city very much for.
Yes, they were very necessary.
And there are now 2 on Ann Arbor Celine Road
Good.
between Maine and Eisenhower.
And I think they're putting more closer to the schools.
Use them at first,
too.
though.
Yes. Anything else? I think we're at, oh, Zach?
Really quickly, I was curious, Sally, did we resolve the request that the gentleman had to the commission about?
The housing?
Yeah.
We were emailed by a person yesterday who was seeking some tax relief based on, property tax release based on his disability. I emailed him back and asked if there's a phone number where I can reach him because I have some questions for him.
Okay.
It may be something that he needs to talk to the Housing Commission about. I know Heather spoke with him and said that he may have spoken with an assessor. I know that there's a program for some tax relief for disabled veterans through the state of Michigan. And there is also a program that if you feel like your property has inappropriately been assessed, you can appeal to the assessor's office on an annual basis for property tax relief. So I don't really know what his situation is. He said he's moving within Ann Arbor, but it sounded like his concern was an increase in property taxes. And so, but it also sounds like he perhaps may be moving from a larger house to a smaller house. So I don't know what the net impact will be. And that's one of the questions I have for him. So, Mr. Solomon, if you're listening, please email me your contact information. I'd love to try to help you. So it has not been resolved, but the request for more information to him has been made.
Okay, thank you.
Heather?
Did he reach out to you guys?
He emailed on the Disability Commission email site.
Okay, I have his phone number.
Oh, you do?
That he gave me on a voicemail. so
Okay.
I'm sure I can give it to you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kirk?
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback quickly off of the pedestrian safety discussion. The pedestrian safety has been a high priority of council as directing staff. And, you know, while there's been a lot of investment in conventional pedestrian infrastructure as well as some slightly unconventional infrastructure, it seems like we're making progress. There's, of course, it's not perfect, and there's a lot of work to do. One of the difficulties we're struggling with is that Ann Arbor is probably one of the most walkable, pedestrian-oriented cities in the country, and we happen to be in one of the most auto-centric states of the country. So there's this cultural conflict. We also have a lot of new arrivals every year, which is part of the great part of Ann Arbor, but it makes rules challenging. It can. So something folks might start seeing this summer is the beginnings of a changing driver culture study that's being undertaken. So one of the more notable signs of this, no pun intended, may be these little devices or signs or objects you might see in the bike lanes or close to sort of the white lane of the road on the sides. That sort of gives you the feeling of, traffic being constricted or, a lane narrowing. So they're doing a methodical study of how devices like this or bump outs or curbs can help signal to the driver that you need to be careful in certain areas. So
Who is doing this study?
I believe it's Michigan State.
Okay, very cool.
I don't know why U of M is not doing it, but
Sorry.
Could I ask you
progress is
what
being made.
Excuse me.
pretty smart.
What those yellow, they put in these yellow markers every once in a while, like there was some on Division, and then they took them away. They make it safer for pedestrians, and then they take them away. What's the meaning, reasoning behind?
That could be part of the pilot project that was done on these signs, and also what they're finding may also be a result of them being removed by drivers, getting run over since it, being.
Data collection.
Yeah, being part of, being very close to the lane of traffic. I think it's a shock to many people how many times these things get hit. Often only when we see a light pole completely toppled over is it a noticeable sign that people go off the road all the time, and these little plastic things get wiped out pretty frequently.
Allison.
And what kind of data are you collecting? Are you also collecting data from drivers and pedestrians themselves, or are you collecting the data from devices? At this point, do you have an idea of when the survey will be finalized and the results made public? That's what I'm curious about. And the results will be made public also?
The results will definitely be made public. The city pitched in some money to help fund this study. So we're definitely going to get the data and recommendations for implementation. It will be at least until after the end of the summer, I believe, where we get any feedback.
Okay, are you collecting data only from the devices, or are you also collecting from pedestrians and drivers?
I do not know if a public sort of scientifically valid survey is being fielded about people's experience with these. My sense is that a lot of it is being measured from the standpoint of, are people stopping for pedestrians, how far in advance, what are the speeds, et cetera. But
Okay,
I'll get more information for you.
that would be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Oh,
See you next
thank you,
month.
and thank you, Anna, for all your service.
Yeah, thank you, Anna.
Oh, we're cheering for Anna to leave. No, boo. She gets to stay.